We have what? Yeah, it's at the door. Yes, I think we'll be going live very soon. There's just a few people waiting to come in. You might be wondering, actually, we might go live, because then if people are on Facebook, they will know where to come. Okay, there's a few people waiting to come in. I'll just stand here and smile. I'd like to welcome people today to our online meeting. There's a few people chatting outside, which always happens at our groups, and because it's COVID, we have to use check-in codes and all of those sorts of things. Whereas those of you who are watching at home don't need to do anything like that. I suggest you get yourself a cup of tea, sit back and relax, and join us in our meeting today. You might be wondering why we are meeting where we are. We're doing that because the Leagues Club are not having any events at the moment, so we can't have our normal meeting there. We did this last year. We came to Jamberoo Anglican Church. You might think it looks like a church. That's because it is. And you feel a bit funny because everybody's sitting in pews and I'm out the front at the lectern, but it's okay, I'm not going to give you a sermon. But if you'd like one, just let me know and I'll give you one next month. Today we're continuing on from our last month's presentation that we looked at things to help us with our Parkinson's, and people had lots of really good ideas and we all shared those. That was really good. But today we're going to look at more things we get from the government. And don't worry about taking all of these down, because we'll put them in our next newsletter and you'll have all the links to all the different things. I'd like to thank Jacob, who's up the back making all this happen, and Jodie, who is here helping Jacob make it all happen, and Graham, who's down in the hall making morning tea happen. So it's great. It's great for Jamberoo Anglican to open up their doors to us and let us do things from here. Actually, just before we start, if you find the things that you once relied on to give your life meaning and trust in all the things of the world, and currently they seem to be letting you down, and you'd like to explore the God of the Bible and you don't have a spiritual home, I can recommend this one. This one's mine. So come and join us on Saturday nights live on Facebook or here, and on Saturday night at 5 and Sunday morning at 9. Okay, let's get on to our main part of our program today. The government initiatives to make life easier. I have actually found quite a few things, and other people have shared things with me. Let's have a look at some of them. The first one, let me turn this on. The on button is here. There we go. Hello, we've got the wrong picture there. The mobility parking scheme. People are often a little bit confused about this, and sometimes your doctor, your GP might say something like, well, if you can walk 25 metres, you're not eligible for it. Actually, if you have Parkinson's, you are eligible for a mobility scheme parking sticker. I have one. I have one because my neurologist is in Sydney, and you often have to park for longer than half an hour. If you've got to go for a blood test or anything else, it could be longer than half an hour, and that might be all the parking. So where do you get your mobility parking scheme? You get a form. Now I've got some of them here, and I'll have them at the next meeting. Not real good to be able to show you, but it looks something like that. And you pick it up at Services New South Wales. Oh, look at that, we got a close-up. You pick it up at Services New South Wales and you take it to your doctor and he fills it in. Number 1, mobility parking scheme. Number 2, this is for all of us, a seniors travel card. There it is. The seniors travel card is also from Services New South Wales. It gives us, you have to live in a region like we do, gives you $250 per annum to spend on petrol, taxis, trains or whatever, okay? And that also, you just fill in a form or you do it online and you get one. That's the seniors travel card. We've actually used ours up already on fuel. Next one, I've heard about a taxi subsidy. That also comes from Services New South Wales. That's for people who can't drive and need to be taken places by cabs. You can get a taxi subsidy. A medical energy rebate comes from the New South Wales Government Planning and Environment. It looks like this. Here we go. We might get a close-up of that one. There we go. Once again, it's a few pages of forms that you fill in. You get your doctor has to sign it and do stuff, and you can only get it if you're a pensioner. And the reason we people with Parkinson's are eligible for this, if you're a pensioner, is because we can't control the temperature of our body as well as we used to. So we get colder and we get warmer in summer. So this helps with heating and cooling. The next one. I don't have a picture of this one. There's a companion card, but I haven't got one either because I'm not eligible one, but a lot of people in our group would be eligible. Their carer is eligible for a companion card, which means you can go to the movies, things like this, and have somebody with you because you're not able to go on your own. The companion card comes from www.companioncard.gov.au. It's up there on the screen. So a lot of this stuff you can get online, but if you can't do that yourself, go to Services New South Wales and they can help you. Now, this is the best one of all, I think. This one is called a Master Locksmith Access Key. You may say, what on earth is that? Oh, thank you. Have you ever been, well, especially people who are using walkers, and you always need to use a disability-friendly access toilet, and half the time they're locked and you can't get a key? Well, we are eligible for a Master Locksmith Access Key. Once again, it's a form you get that off the website, and I've got a pile of them here actually if people in the building want to have one. And the Master Locksmith you can use is only in Nowra, so you can get, and we'll put the information about that in the next newsletter. This will give you your own personal key to put in your glove box of your car or to cart around with you so that you can open those disability access toilets. Okay, I reckon I didn't know about that one. So who did know about it? Who didn't know about it? Yeah, it's a good one, right? It's called the Master Locksmith Access Key. Okay, next one is the Commonwealth Seniors Health Card. This is also for people who are self-funded retirees. It's not a pension card. It doesn't quite give you all the things that the green healthcare card does, but it is a Commonwealth Seniors Healthcare card, and it does give us cheap meds. And everybody who's, I think it's over 65, is probably eligible for one of those. And they come from the Australian Government Services because it's Commonwealth. Number 8, the next one we've got is the Disability Gateway, disabilitygateway.gov.au. Have a look at it and just scroll around all the different things that they make you aware of. One of them is respite care and how to go about getting that, but it's got lots of stuff on it. And the last one, of course, is Parkinson's New South Wales. Parkinson's New South Wales will also send out a standby magazine. All you have to do is contact them and they'll send it to you. And it's got really good stuff in it, like a picture of us at our picnic, plus useful articles on all different sorts of things. But that's also where, if you have any concerns about, well, going into hospital or your medication, or you're just feeling very anxious, or you need to talk to somebody, ring Parkinson's New South Wales on their 1800 number, and you can talk to a nurse or a counsellor. And of course that's who Nina works for. And that's who, they are the umbrella organisation of which we function under. I've got some brochures if anybody needs one. But the easiest way is just to look up Parkinson's New South Wales. Okay, that's some of the things I found. If you find any more, let me know, and we'll put them in our newsletter. So there's lots of things available to us. In our group, we often look at something that is a research topic of the time. One of the things I've been fascinated with is the fact that my Parkinson's is really different to David's Parkinson's, whose Parkinson's is different to Lindy's, and her symptoms are different to John's, and John's are different to Glenn's, and so it goes on. Why? Why has Parkinson's got so many symptoms? Whereas some of the other diseases around, you look at the person and you say, oh yeah, you know, that person's got pneumonia, their lungs aren't working properly, they've got a cough, and they're having trouble breathing. Parkinson's is different. So one of the research, Simon Lewis has been doing research into understanding the difference. It's called Heterogeneity Research. And we've got a video that we're going to watch now, it's not very long, about what they've found out in this research. Thanks, Jacob.
It is a very frequent question in the clinic. Simon, is there one type of Parkinson's disease, or are there lots of different Parkinson's disease? And it was actually one of the areas that I started my research career around Parkinson's disease back in Cambridge, was to explore this question which we in the trade call heterogeneity. That is to say, is there one Parkinson's, or are there different types of Parkinson's? Well, I think it's fair to say that there's probably one type, but with lots of different flavours, and I equate it really to a box of chocolates. So you'll know that there are some square chocolates, some round chocolates. The way that I look at it is that some Parkinson's patients have got sweet centres and some are tough nuts. And it's very obvious that in actual fact there do seem to be, if you like, what we call different subgroups or clinical phenotypes. And the research that I did in Cambridge, we actually replicated in Australia. And that research said, look, if we took, hundreds of patients with Parkinson's disease, can we divide them into subgroups based on the pattern of symptoms that they exhibit? And that work, interestingly enough, has been looked at around the world, and some centres have actually managed to replicate those findings, and it looks as though there are sort of four rough groups that we look at. And these groups would be the younger onset patient. Now, these aren't young. These are patients maybe in their 50s, late 40s, early 50s. And they tend to progress more slowly, but of course, because they're young, they're more likely to run into the need for an advanced therapy, like deep brain stimulation or one of the infusion therapies. The second group, a bit older, in the 60s, is tremor dominant. This group tend to have more in the way of tremor than problems with their walking and balance, and these patients are generally a little bit better with things like cognition and also their mood. The third group, if you like, the opposite, is a non-tremor dominant group. So these patients have little in the way of tremor, and it's important to know that about a quarter of patients have no tremor. But these patients have little in the way of tremor, have more problems with balance and walking and stiffness, and they do seem to be more affected with problems of memory and thinking, and also mood disturbances, and potentially the hallucinatory phenomena that we see. And then the final group that shook out of the research was what we call an aggressive, a rapid progression group, who just seemed to have a much faster course. Now, before you start asking yourself the question, which one of these four am I? The answer is very hard to know. And these are data across large groups. They do allow us to start asking questions. Questions like, well, should everybody have the same treatments? Should we be getting into this area of precision medicine? It may well be that there are things that we don't yet know that, if you like, decide which sort of pattern you are. You could imagine that if you're a younger onset patient, maybe the processes that resist the disease aren't as good. Or, alternatively, they're very good in that they say, okay, well, I'm going to get Parkinson's now, but I'm going to have a very slow progression because I know what I'm going to do with these horrible things that are going on in my brain. Of course, nobody gets to choose. But we are getting these insights, and whether it's because of genetics or whether it's because of other factors, we're not entirely sure. But it's a very important area for our research, and I have to say that it has relied upon the research clinic that we have, with now over 1,000 patients who've been kind enough to come in and give us their time and us to take the data and actually try and make some sense of it. And I'm hoping that they'll be rewarded in the long run when we come up with better therapies. But at this time, I'd just like to say thank you for being involved in that research. It is a very frequent question in the clinic.
Simon Lewis's clinic is in Glebe, and I don't think there's a lot of participation at the moment, but they need people with Parkinson's to share our experiences so that they can do this sort of research. The other research group is the Michael Fox group. There are others as well, but you can go online with the Michael Fox people and do regular surveys too. And they're doing surveys worldwide just to sort these things out, because it's such a tricky disease. It's not straightforward. Anyway, I thought that was quite interesting, because understanding why we see patterns will hopefully lead to better treatments in the future. We need to do something now. We need to get up and be a little bit active. So Patricia's going to come and do some speech stuff for us here in the building and home online. Thanks, Patricia. You can take your mask off because she'll be talking. Where would you like to stand? I'll introduce, most of you know Patricia. Patricia Cotter has been one of the foundation members of our group, and her husband Ken has Parkinson's, and was also at our very first meeting, and Ken was one of the people that I spoke to when we set up the research group. So thanks.
Thank you, Leslie. Just right. I have been involved in speech and drama for some years because I'm qualified in speech and drama. And it intrigues me with people with Parkinson's, because when the changes start to occur, mostly people become softer, slower, and the facial here starts to not have as much expression. But some, like my husband, Ken, his has become faster and a little less able to be understood, as his neurologist, Professor Lewis, has indicated. So what do we do about this situation? We all want to be able to communicate with our loved ones, with our families. I know we're in lockdown, but we're actually wanting to have to communicate even harder at the moment, because we're using a lot of media, phones, iPads, various ways of coming across. So I thought about this and put back us down onto some basics that we should be practicing. And one of them, of course, is trying to stand up as best we can or sit up as best we can. And those exercises you're all involved in if you're taking exercise programs either at home or going to a program for Parkinson's. But the speech organs are also the things we need to manage. And remember, not only these parts of our body here, including our lips, involved with speech, they're also involved with chewing and eating. So we get a double dose. Now, I know there are programs, but I'm just going to show you some simple things today. One of the problems is that when speech becomes slow, we know we've got the weakening of this here, and also the audibility is starting to drop. We need to overwork the parts of the body which are involved in speaking clearly. Now, some of those are, first of all, we need to make our round here. This is like to pop your hands here, or your carer or whoever is beside you if you're at home, to move this part. This is where our cheeks are, and without hurting your jaw, just drop it a little and go ba, 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 ba. Now, we won't hear you at home, so go for it. Ba, 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 ba. Just, we're thinking, and now, push your lips out and think you're being like a trumpet. Ooh, 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 pushing out. Now, don't force the lips and don't feel as though you're doing it in a ridiculous way. Just move them out and ooh, 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 ooh. Or if you don't want to make sound, just go and back, ooh, and back, ooh, and back. Now, try that at home, and try it even if you do it a couple of times a day. It just stretches these muscles and moves the lips forward. That are very simple ones. Now, the other one is that when speech becomes very quiet and you can barely hear a word anybody says, because everybody's finding it very hard to hear you, try and push the sound of your voice forward. Now, this is a harder one. This is called projection. So I thought about this, how can I do this simply? And I thought, well, people know how to hum. They may not even know they're humming. So how about we hum today? So, So put your lips together and keep the space inside your lips wide and pull your tongue down. And you might feel where you were putting your hands before. And we're just doing a practice today, but that is an exercise. So humming helps to bring that sound nice and big, and then you're trying to put it out there. But people say that's not speech, that's just the warm-up. Then we have to work on exercises. Now, there are many, many exercises. Some are quite complex and take a lot of effort. We all know about the red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, getting faster and faster. But you can always start on something a little easier than that. Blue, black, bug's blood. Blue, black, bug's blood. Blue, black, bug's blood. What you're doing there is you're giving the lips a good ooh, ooh, ooh. Blue, black, bug's blood. Blue, black, bug's blood. How about you try for me, please? Well, good. Isn't it each time we say it, blue, black, bug's blood? I find for people it's get that rhythm, blue, black, bug's blood. See how it goes, blue, black, bug's blood. So if you get those lips rounded, it's easier. Blue, black, bug's blood. Blue, black, bug's blood. See how it trips us very quickly. Now, what about one more that's interesting? It's called lippity, lippity, tippity, tip. So, lippity, lippity, tippity, tip. And for those who want to add on, lippity, lippity, tippity, tip, tippity, tippity, lippity, lip. So, I will give you that again. So, lippity, lippity, tippity, tip, tippity, tippity, lippity, lip. And all day these days we're singing only at home, and if we're speaking outside we have to use our mask. So we need to try and make our speech as clear as possible. Now, I'd like to ask that you can feel your speech going slower, or you can feel your speech becoming more blurred or not as clear. Any questions from people here that they'd like to ask me? I mean, I know there are programs where people have to work on them, and I saw them at conferences go speak loud. Most people today with masks would be really concerned about not sending their voices too loud, because they would be thinking about them just getting clear enough. Any questions on that point? The lips and the tongue and the top of the teeth, and obviously the curving up of the tongue with the R's and the many sounds, and the back of the tongue with the G. There are all these sounds, they're what we call, and you can practice on them individually, the making of these sounds. Another way is to try and, try and lift your speech up and down. I want something today. I need some honey on my toast. Could you help me with my walker, please? Like, you can go for the important words. Even if you feel your speech is slowing down, you can still get it out clearly. So would you like... What things do you think you'd like to ask me? I've got more time than I expected, so... Or would you just like me to show moving the voice up and down a bit? Okay. So it could be... Could you help me with my walker? That's quiet, isn't it? So pull it forward a bit more. Could you help me with my walker? A bit forward more. And obviously we'll put please in as well. Could you help me with my walker, please? So try and think of what you're asking. The trouble is the brain is slowing down and the concentration is harder. So make it, could you please help me with my walker? Or could you help me with my walker, please? So nice and slowly, so you're not exhausted saying it. Another one. We'll have to stop because I need to go to the toilet. We'll have to stop because I need to go to the toilet. So, sounds clear? Not too fast? Just go for the main words. If you don't get all of it out, just, I need to go to the toilet. Even if you blur, don't worry, just go for it. Make sure you try and move so work on that and those that going back again, that ha, that lip, open, move your lips, drop your jaw, keep nice and smiley about it, relaxed, and I think you'll find you'll have an easier time. And practice if you can remember the blue black bug's blood, the lippity lippity tippity lip, and if you want to be really out there, and you've all probably heard it many a time, the red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. Can't get it? Yeah, I'll do it slowly. Red leather, yellow leather. 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 It is hard. It is hard. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I've taken out of that. Sometimes it's good just to make the main words, you know, like if we're driving along and there's a red light coming, instead of sort of trying to tell me, you know, Jeff might be trying to tell me there's a red light and to stop. Instead of saying there's a red light, just say red light. And that's probably one of the things that we can learn, just concentrate on the main words if you can't get the rest out. Cool. Righto. What's on, what's off over the next month or two? Some of the things that are still on are Shell Harbour Private Hospital Warriors program is still running, especially for the people in Shell Harbour. That's at the hospital at Tuesdays and Thursdays, 3:30 and 4:30, 2 different sessions. So that's still on. Solutions for Wellbeing is still running their programs, Monday morning and Thursday afternoons. And BayMed have started up their program. And because these are medical things, you can come out of the area to them, but then of course you've got to go home and isolate for 14 days. So BayMed's programs are on Tuesday and Thursday from 11 to 12. And it's Ryan and Sarah who come to our meetings to do something, and we're going to get Ryan up soon. Ryan, do you have to rush off, or you got... He's fine, right. Well, before we do that, another thing that I'd like to show you is, or read to you, is about vaccination research, something that's people have been asking questions about. How does it affect people with Parkinson's? So Simon Lewis put me onto this study by Baz Bloom. He is one of the recognised Parkinson's researchers from the Netherlands. He's spoken at World Parkinson's conferences and things like that. So there's a little cartoon up there now. And I think this is what is often happening with research these days. Oh, look what I found on the internet, love. You know, all the researchers missed it. Okay? So don't believe all you hear. Be wary. Go to something that is really genuine research from somebody who's got good credentials. This research was published in the Journal of Parkinson's Disease. It's from January, so it's not, it's not all that current on the new strain, but it just shows you what I'm reading it for, not the whole thing, don't worry. You might like to go and get yourself a cup of tea anyway, and just sit back and relax. I'm reading it to show you what sort of research is done into vaccinations generally, and especially into the COVID vaccinations in relation to Parkinson's, okay? Right, the overview. Actually, somebody from the Netherlands, Germany, Spain, New York, Taiwan, USA were all part of this global research. And several COVID-19 vaccines have recently been approved for use according to governmental immunisation programs. The arrival of these vaccines has created hope for people with Parkinson's disease, as this can help to mitigate their risk of becoming infected with the severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus, which can lead to serious life-threatening disease, at least among those with more advanced PD. However, both persons with PD and physicians looking after these individuals have expressed concerns about the vaccine's efficacy and safety in the specific context of PD and its symptomatic treatment. That is why the study was done. Here we discuss the perspective on these concerns based on the interpretation of the literature, plus the unfolding experience with widespread vaccination in the population at large, and we know that Europe's had widespread vaccinations. And this is what they say: because the benefits and risks of COVID-19 vaccines do not appear to be different than in the general population, we recommend COVID-19 vaccination with approved vaccines to person with PD unless there is a specific contraindication. So that's what they call it, the abstract or the summary or the overview. In the introduction, Baz says, the risk of becoming infected with the new severe acute respiratory syndrome, coronavirus, I'm just going to call it COVID-19 from now on, is a serious concern for persons with Parkinson's disease worldwide. Reports indicate that the likelihood of becoming infected is not higher for those living with Parkinson's, but the risk of experiencing the serious respiratory disease and sequelae of COVID-19 does appear to be elevated, at least in later stages of PD, okay? So more advanced stages. Furthermore, both motor and non-motor symptoms of PD can worsen considerably as a result of COVID-19. Finally, the risk of dying in conjunction with the virus, with the infection, also appears to be higher for persons with PD compared to the general population. Until recently, physical distancing, face masks and eye protection were the only strategies to prevent person-to-person transmission. Thus, recommendations from public health agencies have been to stay at home, and that's happening again, isn't it? And limit direct contact with others, and it's becoming more and more important to do that, to mitigate the risk of becoming infected. Of course, this social isolation and the justifiable fears of infection can be associated with stress, anxiety and depression. So you've got to weigh those things up. The risk for mental health challenges seems extra high for people living with PD. So carers need to be aware of that, who are particularly vulnerable to the deleterious effects of stress and the inability to exercise adequately. So it goes on to sort of say more about all of those things. But I'll skip a few pages. I don't think you want to hear all of it. And they came up with a take-home message. These are the things they want us to learn from this research. The take-home messages with respect to COVID-19 for vaccination for persons with PD. Right, number one, compared to the general population, the risk of COVID-19 infection causing serious, life-threatening disease seems higher for people living with PD, at least among those with more advanced disease. Okay, so it is higher. The approved vaccines and viral vector vaccines under development are not known or expected to interact with the neurodegenerative process in PD. So they're not going to make us any worse. The types of or incidence of side effects of these vaccinations in persons with PD seem no different than in the general population. Okay, so the side effects aren't going to affect us any more than the general population. The vaccines also seem safe for older adults, but caution is needed for the specific subgroup of very frail and terminally ill elderly. COVID-19 vaccination is not known to interfere with the current therapies of PD. That's one that I think we needed to know. It's not going to interfere with the current therapies and medications we're using. Taken together, we recommend COVID-19 vaccination with approved vaccines for persons with PD unless there is a specific contraindication. Vaccinated persons with PD must continue to comply with the public health guidelines to reduce exposure and transmission of COVID-19. Insights may change, and we must consciously monitor newly emerging data from both trials and real-life vaccination programs. So they don't finish the research and say, right, tick, signed off, let's move on to something else. It's an ongoing process. So what they said in their conclusion was, we encourage our community of movement disorder specialists to recommend COVID-19 vaccination unless there are reasons not to. Some caution seems warranted in very frail persons with PD living in long-term care facilities. We also recommend that persons with PD come forward themselves to discuss the vaccine with their physician. If you've got concerns, ask the dog. This recommendation to both physicians and patients is given because the benefits and risks do not appear to be different than in the general age-matched population, while the risk of developing the serious life-threatening complications of the infection does appear to be higher for persons living with PD, at least those with the advanced disease. Finally, even after vaccination, it is important that persons with PD continue complying with the public health guidelines to reduce exposure and transmission of COVID-19 as recommended by the WHO Health Organisation and our own government. So that is a fairly lengthy research paper. If you want to know more, just text me and I can tell you where you can get that. We read recently in the Australian newspaper, I don't read the New Australian, my husband reads the Australian, and he thought I might be interested in this article by Greg Sheridan. And he was saying if we have to live with COVID-19, which we probably will, life won't get back to just as it was without it, he said it's going to be similar to living with influenza. We've lived with influenza for quite a long time. We get vaccinated against influenza. People die from influenza. People will die, sadly, from COVID-19. That is what happens. But vaccines will be available for all who want them and good medical care for all who need it. So the take-home message is go and get vaccinated if you haven't. Okay, wake up. Ken? Wake up. Yeah, that was a bit long. But I think it was important, and we are a proactive group and we want to be up there with the research that's going on. I think we need to get up and active. Ryan, do you want to come down the front? Some of the people already know Ryan's been to a few of our meetings from BayMed. Ryan's going to put us through some exercise programs. He's going to find it hard because people are actually sitting in pews, but there's lots of people at home watching or will be. Right. If you want to talk into a microphone.
Is that one of the way? I'll move the pulpit thing out.
Has to go that way, Graham. Has to go that way because there's cords.
That's I can move to the side if that's easy. Slide it across. Easy. That sounds alright. Handy. Beauty, thank you. Box of tricks. Okay. Is everyone okay if I take my mask off so you can hear me properly? Beauty. Use this one. Can everybody hear me? Is that okay? Wonderful. I feel like I'm about to perform. This is deja vu. It's not a piano or a clarinet. I'm sorted. Long time to go. Okay, how's everyone going? We're still awake? That was good. That was good evidence. Thanks for that, wasn't it? Okay, everyone who can stand, please stand. Let's get up, get moving. Now we're at a school assembly. Fantastic. Good on you, John. You can hang on to the front if you need to. All right. We're going to do things in standing just to get the blood flowing, get the body moving. All right. We're going to focus on hands though today. Okay. So hands are super duper important. Really, really important for working on fine dexterity skills. So things like handwriting, playing musical instruments, working your hands is very, very important, all right, as you all know. So we're going to start with a nice easy one. Warm up, making fists and then opening right out and then closing fists again. All right, super duper easy, all right? But for some, maybe quite challenging. Now focusing on really extending, so you can see if I turn my hands side on, you can see how much they straighten. Really, really important to actively straighten those fingers. Wonderful, wonderful. Good. Right now, a lot of people feel that with the exercises that we're running, sometimes we might go faster. Well, it's not really faster. We want to go more powerfully, all right? So what we're going to do, we're going to start close, and I'll show you first. We're almost going to be like we're scaring the grandkids, all right? So we're ready, we're going to go like that, and open them up. That's it. And then closing them down. Let's go again. Opening them up really fast. And then closing back down. Wonderful. Going again. Opening them up. Wonderful. There we go. New skill if we haven't done this with the grandkids before. Fantastic. And if you don't have grandkids, then that's all right. We'll go down to the local IGA. I'm sure we'll find someone there. We can scare. Wonderful. Now, the most important thing is not just the surprise, but also the close. Right? This is what we're going to work on today. So we're going to open up wide, and then we're going to close powerfully as well. Wonderful. Straighten the fingers, open up wide, and back down, close. Wonderful. Good job. Okay. We're going to go for some reaches. So I'll show you what we're going to do. So my arm's going to come up quite wide. And so we're going to start low. So the first one is we're going to reach out to the side, fingers outstretched if you can see my fingers, and then back to the front. We're going to go the other side, reaching out nice and wide, and then back to the front. For those that find this quite easy, okay, well let's bring our feet closer together. Let's make it a bit of a balance challenge as well. Alright, those that are a bit unsteady, make sure you keep your feet apart still. Okay, so that way we can balance well. Right, yeah. Now this is easy, isn't it? Okay, right. Imagine it's the nice 100-year-old bottle of wine that's been sitting on the shelf for so long, and you don't want it to fall off. So what we're going to do, the next one, we're going to go a bit more powerful. So we're going to reach out, arms out. Good. And then coming back to the side. Other side this time. Reach out, arms out. Wonderful. And back to the side. Go again. Reach out, arms out. Good. Focusing on the fingers still. So remember, fingers is the key for these, okay? So make sure fingers are nice and wide spread. And back to the side. Righto. This time, remembering before how we did the fast close. So we're going to do the same thing again, but on the reach back. So we're going to reach out hard and fast. And then powerful pull back in. Good. Right, I'm going to reach out nice, hard and fast, grab the bottle of wine, and then pull it closely because you're going to drink it, no one else is. Wonderful. Go again, reaching out. Fantastic. Pulling it close by. That's it. Powerful in the movement. Explode out, and then pull it back into the side. Good job. Right, I'm going to start moving a bit higher. For those that have shoulder concerns, keep it nice and low. For those that don't have shoulder concerns, we're going to move a little bit higher up, okay? Alright, so you do what you can do at home or here in the church today as well. Alright, so the first one we're going to reach with, I'll go my left, so your right hand, so I'll mirror you for everything, okay? So we're going to start by reaching out to the side, so powerful reach out, and then powerful pull back in. Wonderful. Now we're going to go higher this time, reaching out nice and high, and powerful back in. Good. Overhead this time if we can do it. Reaching up nice and high, and back in. Wonderful. For those that have got their feet closer together for balance, if that's still a bit too easy, bring one foot a little bit further forward than the other. Feet still touching. Make sure you've got a bit of support if you need it. Other hand this time, okay? Reaching out to the side first. Reach out, wide arm. Wonderful. And then pull back in. Good. Go again. Reach out to the side. Good. Pull back in. Going a bit higher if you can. If it's too sore, if shoulders are sore, keep it nice and low, down low, okay? So we're reaching low. Right, going high this time. Reaching out. Wonderful. And then pulling back in. Going again, reaching out high. Good. Pulling back in. Overhead if you can do it. If not, pull straight down to the ground. Reaching up high. Good. Pulling it back down. Let's go again. Reaching up high. And pulling it back down. Now, as Leslie said before with vaccinations, how it's important to continue your normal therapies. Exercise is very, very important. For those that have done the groups who have done PD Warrior before, they know that powerful, big movements are the movements that can open up receivers to allow dopamine reception to come in or take up, which helps you move and slow your progression of your symptoms. Okay, so this is why we do big movements, focusing on wide outstretched hands today. That's what we're working on today. Okay. So that was really, really good. We're going to do some reaching though, okay? So I might do it on a little bit of an angle so you can see me reaching as well. For those with balance concerns, keep the feet wide. For those not with balance concerns or would like to challenge your balance a little bit, bring your feet a little bit closer together. Alright? We're going to start slow. We're going to work on my left hand first. And all we're doing is we're reaching forward. Hands outstretched. Alright? And then coming back down nice and slow. Going again, reaching forward. If you need to balance by holding on to the plate in front of you, you can, and pulling back in. That's good. Let's go again, reaching forward. See how far forward you can go now. Good job, guys. And coming back in. Okay, we know that this is important to go slow. Right, now let's go powerfully. So you go as far forward as you feel comfortable to go. So you're going to reach forward, arms forward. And then pull back in. Good. Let's go again. Reach arms forward. Good. pull back in. Very good. One more time. Reach arms forward, and then pulling back in. Right, I'm going to turn the other side. I'm going to use the other arm this time, okay? Feet close together if you want to work on your balance. If it's too easy, bring one foot slightly in front, or keep them wide for stance, okay? From this position, we're going to go slow first, making a fist first. We're going to reach forward as far as you can, and then coming back through. So this is important for trunk control as well as fingers. So look at your fingers as you reach forward, check your fingers, check the nice and wide spread, and then coming back in again. All right, another one, nice and slow. Reaching forward, and then moving back again. Good job. Righto, ready for the power? Let's bring the power. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Reach forward, grab that bottle of wine, pull it back in nice and close. Fantastic. Go again, reaching forward, and then pulling it back in. Works well for the panic buyers as well if you want to get the toilet paper or the flour. One more time. Reaching forward. Good. And grabbing back in. Good job. Good job for the reach. Really, really important for trunk control like I was saying before as well. That was good. How's everyone feeling? Everyone's shoulders are okay? Wonderful. We're all awake? Beauty. Right. We're going to finish this today by slowing it down a little bit. For those that have done my class already, they know that we've already started some Tai Chi work. Alright, for those that have done Tai Chi in the past, I apologise, this probably won't look anything like it. But what I want you to do, we're going to start with feet shoulder width apart. Alright, with these, because we've been focusing on hand position and how widespread we are with our hands, have a think about hand position again while we're doing these movements, alright? So the first one that I'd like you to do, you're going to bring both hands up, fingers outspread, and then once you get to about shoulder height, you're going to pull them close to your face. As you're doing it, think about pushing your chin back a little bit, and then back down from there. Wonderful. Go again, nice and slow now. We're moving into a Tai Chi field, and then pulling them close to your face, pushing your chin back. So if we go side on for you, you can see my chin tucks in. Got a nice little double chin there. And then arms back down again. Wonderful. One more time, 3 times in a row. Lifting up, nice and slow. Pulling them in towards your chin, tucking the chin, and then back down again. Good job. Well done, guys. Rightio. This time, reaching up again. For those that have done my class, they know what this one is. So one hand, so you can pick which one you want to do. You're going to look at the hand, and you're going to move your head with your hands. Trade following the hands. The other hand comes down by your side. Come back down to this front. The other hand comes back up, and you're going to look at the other one. And you're going to admire how beautiful your hands are. Good job. Right, once more each side, changing hands again, keeping it nice and slow, keeping those fingers nice and wide. And swapping hands again, having a look at the hands and moving it around. Wonderful, wonderful. Alright, coming in, we're going to make a nice beach ball with our hands. Alright, feet shoulder width apart, if not a little bit wider. Okay, soften the knees, so a little bit of a bend. What we're going to do, this is our energy ball. We're going to move it to the side, so we're going to move it around our body. We're going to add some rotation. Thinking about fingers. Now, when you get to the end, you're going to turn your hands over. I'm going to bring it back the other way. Almost like we're rolling our hands around the ball and rotate again. You move within the range that's comfortable for you. Alright, so we're going to rotate the hands and bring the ball back. Good. Good job. Everyone's got some nice big energy balls out there. It's great. Fantastic. Wonderful. In your own time. This is the great thing about Tai Chi. You can do it in your own time. Wonderful. Once we've finished 3 each side, we're going to come back to the middle, okay? When we're finished. Fantastic. Alright, so now we're going to squash our energy ball. Squash it down. We're going to change our hand position. One hand's coming to the roof, the other hand's pushing to the floor. Now thinking you're going to straighten the knees, you're going to lengthen the body, shoulders back, head up. Wonderful. I think some of us just grew a couple of centimetres. That's fantastic. And then we're going to change hands. So come back to your ball, making the ball first. We're going to squash our ball down. We're going to change hands and pushing up to the ceiling. We're going to grow tall at the top. Grow tall. The most important part of this one is that we're growing nice and tall. If we've got some shoulder concerns, just go within what's comfortable, okay? Energy ball again. Pushing through, squash the ball. And push up. Grow tall, grow tall, grow tall. Wonderful. Come back down to the ball again. Making the ball. Squashing the ball and then growing tall again as we come in. Wonderful. Alrighty-o. Now imagine we've got a wall next to us, sitting right here. What we're going to do, we've got 2 hands on the wall. Alright? So 2 hands on one side. We're going to push the wall. You're going to bring your body across with it. So it's a heavy wall. We've got to use our body. Good. Now the ball's changed sides. So we're going to change our hands and pushing across to the other side again. This is working with a bit of weight balance transfer. Really good for balance. Really good for strength. Soften the knees. Change hands. Push the other way. Good. Thinking about fingers. Don't forget our fingers today. Nice and wide. Hands on the wall or hands on the heavy sliding door and pushing across. Good job. Changing again. Pushing across. And we've got one more to do. Changing hands, pushing across. I can see there's some fantastic Tai Chi people in here. Alright, I might need to take some lessons from you later. Come back down. Bringing the energy up. Gather the energy, bring it up nice and high. I'm going to push it down. Good. It's a great way to finish your practice. Bringing up, lifting up. Gather the energy, pushing it down. Last one. Big deep breath in on the way up. And a big sigh on the way back out. Make it vocal. Oh, how good's that? Right, it's done. Thank you so much for having me today. Thank you very much for having me in this space. This is good. You guys are fantastic.
Well, we're going to actually finish soon. We used to have a sing-along, which we haven't been able to do for a while because, I forget why, because we haven't been able to sing. And we've been doing a dance session, haven't we? Anyway, we're having another sing-along today. Sorry. This is for Barbara the Hossan, who's Barbara and Fred, who aren't here. She's asked for a Happy Wanderer. So Patricia's going to come out and sing it for us. And I'm going to play, and then we might do something else with it. The words will come up on the screen for you.
Listening to these, this microphone or over here?
I think I'll sing to this one. Thanks, Graham.
Sorry, I'm just looking for the button. Have to turn it on. And it's not on that. It just goes from there, doesn't it? That's it. It's the first time I've used this little remote.
Does it need to go just
Do you remember singing the Happy Wanderer around a campfire when they were Girl Guides or Scouts? Goes back a long way, doesn't it?
Sure does.
It does. Okay, hang on, we're nearly there. I think we're there. Barbara also challenged me to play the guitar, so this is...
I love to go wandering along the mountain track, and as I go I love to sing my knapsack on my back.
Hang on. We're in lockdown.
Oh yes, we are.
We can't go a-wandering.
No.
Oh dear.
What are we going to do?
I think we might need to upgrade this song a bit. Okay, Jodie, Graham, would you like to come and help us? We might as well have a bit of oomph behind it as well. Please. If you're sitting in the pews, you're not allowed to sing, but you can hum. Is that right?
another cupboard can be cleaned, not another house could be cleaned, I'm sure, in anybody's place, and anywhere in the Facebook, kind of a Parkinson's group. Has run my house. Then I'm tired of staying home.
I hope all those people.
Well, it's good to know we're among friends, and it doesn't matter if we stuff things up a bit. It's supposed to be a bit of fun. Now, we're not sure what's happening next month. It will be up to Gladys and the Leagues Club, whether we'll be meeting there, or if not, we'll probably do what we've done this week, and we'll go live from Jamboree Anglican. So once again, thank you, Jacob and Jodie, for making all of this happen. I think that's all we've got to do today, except if you're welcome to come over to the hall and join us for morning tea.
We're going to go to the side door.
Okay, we'll be going round through the gate and into the side door and come and have a chat. Let me just check before we completely shut down that we've done everything. I think we have. Thank you for joining us, and this will be on our Facebook page practically forever. So, and if you want to see any other meetings we've done, they shall also be there. Any problems, just give me a ring or a message and I'll help you get on. Thank you for joining us today.